The UN's 2013 report on economic development on the continent shows intra-Africa trade amounted to $32 billion in 2000 and $130 billion in 2011. It looks like an impressive increase, but it's driven by higher prices rather than by the volume of trade.
Africa already has part of the ingredients for a virtuous cycle to exist. We've got favorable demographics, we've got large growing local markets on the continent, and you've also got a rising middle class that actually has more money to spend. So that's one half of the equation. The other half of the equation is supplying those people with the things that they actually need.
Many analysts cite buckling infrastructure as a major challenge to trade. More than 80% of commuters and goods use a poorly maintained road network, only half of which is paved. This clogs transport corridors and stifles economic opportunities. And at borders, there's seemingly endless red tape.
An importer or exporter is to fill more than 100 forms before they can get action. So people have not sat down seriously to consider, if you want to develop, if you want to create a rapid acceleration, what are the things that you must bring down in terms of trade barriers?
The Continental Free Trade Agreement will hopefully gain some traction at this week's summit, building on existing free trade areas such as SADC, the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, and the East African Community.
Anything that stimulates competition amongst the countries, anything that allows for freer, easier production and freer and easier movement of goods and services across the different borders generally works in the right direction. It's really down to the implementation.
It's a no-brainer, and yet the reality is different. In many respects, African countries do not have, in my view, a long-term strategy on how they want to develop or industrialize.
It's a simple equation. Better intra-Africa trade will result in accelerated growth on the continent. But it's up to Africa's leaders to make this happen, and to ensure that economic growth improves living conditions across the continent. Nicolaas Bauer, Johannesburg.